Yeah, I was trying to decide what game to play with. I just throw this on. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Splintered Fate, available on Apple Plus. You know, game. That's service. It comes a part of my Apple Plus. Um, with Apple Plus TV, music, Apple Music. So I'm able to, enjoy a little bit of getaway. You know what I mean? I really only use it for the Apple Music, and that way I can walk and listen to some real. I call it all hip hop to me. Whether it's Bilal, Sade, or uh, Killer Army. I mean, I got a good range, but right now in that Common and Pete Rock album, the Auditorium, I think it's called. That's the best album this year. It's a beautiful album. It's a Islamic Christian album. It's all about loving God and the beauty of doing that. It's all about respecting the Lord, seeking wisdom. That real hip hop that I be rapping about, not that, you know, drill music or whatever they want to call that. You know, RAPE culture. You got to spell it out these days, because then they point at you and call you, misogynistic and things of that nature, and it's just whack at this point, completely whack. And to think that is, I'm still on code, I'm still on the same topic, because it did translate to boys and girls bathrooms, right? And that's why it's hilarious, because all Donald Trump had to do was say the 14th Amendment was specifically for black Americans, the slaves or whatever, right? And from him saying that, and me knowing my lineage, right, that includes myself. So that doesn't include Barack Obama, for example. Barack Obama he is the African American, but when you point at him and say that he's African American, I didn't say it. This is what society put him as. This is what not Al Sharpton. What's the other guy named? Reverend Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson started that, African American coalition. We're all blacks, and that changed it right there. And in changing that, like it's like, how did that change boys and girls bathroom? It changed it by talking about a specific lineage, and that's foundational black Americans. That's what we started calling ourselves within the past 5 years, 6 years. We wasn't really American descendant ADOS. That's completely different. ADOS looks at the year 1619. Foundational Black Americans, we look at the year 1526. So 2026 will mark and officially 500 years of what we like to say was revolution, warfare. 1526 was one of the first Spanish colonies revolts where Africans and dark brown natives fought together to free them, and take their fort down or whatever. So it was a war against the colonialists, the 1776, the other quote unquote foundational Americans, right, the colonizers. And it's just ironic to hear some liberals now trying to say that they are white foundational Americans, and it's like, no, that's what happens with hip hop. You know what I mean? Like we embrace. I'm trying to think of a good one. No problem. The Beastie Boys, right? We embrace the Beastie Boys. We consider the Beastie Boys' first album hip hop. Here's a little story I got to tell about two bad brothers that know so well, right? Clearly, it's not drill music, but it was a funny Western music, and that's just one song that I'm singing, and it's probably my favorite song because they ran the beat backwards. You know, that's what the whites used to say about the metal, heavy metal. Like if you play it backwards, you'll hear the devil and the evilness going on. You know what I mean? But if you play Paul Revere by the Beastie Boys backward, you're gonna hear the original beat. You know what I mean? From my understanding, DJ Run from Run DMC accidentally played the beat backwards, and they was like, "Yo, there it is, right there." Zoom, 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 jam, like, and they rocked it and became a legendary song about three bad brothers, three crazy white Jews grabbing the microphone and enjoying what we like to call hip hop, which is life. So there it is. Am I going to play this game? I should play a little bit, but I wanted to start there, and it's like, how did you translate that to boys and girls bathrooms? Because in the 60s you had the gays and lesbians. Somehow it became the LGBTQIA plus .dei.pdf political policy files, right? This long string of letters and nonsense to delineate itself from a gang culture, right? Like that's not a gang or a group. Like Sugar Hill Gang is a group. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five is a group. And ironically, in their first song, the message in the video, it ends with them being accused of being a gang. You know, like, nah, we not the Sugar Hill Gang. We a group. We a singing group. You haven't heard of us, like, you know what I mean? And my lyrics is all, you know what I mean? It's a jungle sometimes that make me wonder how I keep from going under. So it's a blues type of song over some electronic kind of music, because it was changing from disco to electronic to jazz to house to, you know what I mean, boom bap and boom bip, and therein is what hip hop truly is. It is the so quote unquote lettuce, the melting pot, right? That's what hip hop truly is. So that's not what's happening in these major cities, though. So I shared a little bit of Chicago, and then it's still black versus white, and it's like, wait a minute, why is it still black versus white? And that's what us as foundational black Americans is asking. So it's like, we need to march against this white supremacy, and it's like, yo, I'm just trying to have a little cookout. Like that's my Sabbath, is a little cookout. Invite a couple friends over, we can sit and watch a movie, and or, you know what I mean, because right now I do want to see Superman again, you know what I mean, or whatever movie we can watch, play a little video, play some cards, play some dominoes, you know, Uno, you know what I mean, chill out with some friends, talk about the movie, talk about whatever books we're reading, you know. That's supposed to be celebrating or seeking wisdom, not drill music that is causing a cultural rift, and then it somehow gets translated to separate the boys from the girls. Wait a minute, what in the world? Right? Because that's what the bathrooms, it should only be 2 bathrooms. So, but what we had was this group of LGBTQ and then trans people going, we need our own bathrooms too. We're not just boys. We're not just girls. We can be boys and girls, depending on how we feel that day. And it's like, yo, you kind of tripping, right? No, if you're a man, you shouldn't be. I'm not a man. Who told you? Like, now they want to argue, right? They don't want to debate. They want to argue their psychological issues. Like, nah, dude, it don't work like that, right? No, boys, girls, that's it. So now it translated from boys to girls to, you know, men and women. Like, all right, cool, call it men's room to women's room. Like that's right. That's what we're supposed to call it anyway. But it, you know, we had to downgrade it, and you've seen companies try to change the wording. Now make it boys and girls, little boys and girls, and that way, like, and make it cute. Now you go into the stores and it's like family. And it's like, well, two men can, adopt two boys, and you know what I mean. That's a family too. And then when those two men get 100 years in jail down in Atlanta, it's like you act like we don't know what we're talking about, right? Or that's just one that, just because of the existence of one doesn't make it the many, right? Now we're getting into quantifiers of mathematics. Like, you know, the art of logical thinking or the laws of reasoning is a book. Um, it's an okay book. I'm not saying it is the end all be all. You know what I mean? The Bible could be. But as soon as you use that book to translate or help understand the Bible a little bit more, instead of reading the Bible illogically, like Spock and the Data or R2D2 would say, the illogic is emotions, right? Because they don't understand emotions, or they shouldn't, right? Well, but therein is the gist of it, that we're dealing with. We're trying to satisfy trans people in with a bathroom situation, and they're trying to use the 14th Amendment as the reasoning behind their discrimination or desegregation, or no discrimination, desegregation, and whatever, uh, de racism or de anti black racism, de black racism, right? The destruct that's specifically has been specifically against my lineage, foundational black Americans. And we're tired of trying to fight for y'all now. Now we're just trying to listen. Trump, we understand, we appreciate you for clarifying that. Cut the check so that we can fix these problems. I'm gonna share a little bit of DeAndre. Shout out to him. I'm gonna share a link in the thing, and I'll rap 2 seconds afterwards, and then I'm out. I can't, I can't explain it any clearer than that. If you don't understand or don't want to understand, that's your own issue, and you need to go fix your own life. Stop trying to destroy other people's lives because, you know, of your mental health issues. But I'll be right back.
All right, YouTube, this Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit, back with another video. And this video is going to be deep because people, especially my day one subscribers, know I used to have a studio. And they may ask, I blog out of my car. I blog out of my car because I had to leave my studio because OTF, Little Dirk, Chicago, was in my home, influencing the children I was raising. I actually met Vonnie, OTF Vonnie, the young man that's turning state evidence on Little Dirk and Chicago's drill culture, came to my house. And this was the coldest, devious young man I ever encountered. His energy was all bad. But the sad part is that it's their mothers. Now, we put a lot of emphasis on men being in the house, but a lot of times, men being in the house, if these young men are not your children, it's very dangerous, because these are drill rappers. These not regular young men, and their mothers are not regular women. Their mothers like the Louis Vuitton bags. They like the Ferragamo. They like the things that come with their sons being menaces in our community. And I experienced it firsthand. So I'm sharing my story with you. And I'm going to show you some things. First, I'm going to show you how in desperate need Chicago is for the National Guard and troops to stop the unaliving of these young men. They're destroying each other. They're destroying the community. They've turned our communities into a war zone. And I've dealt with that firsthand. I've dealt with drill rappers, gang bangers, threatening me to my face. But I had to make a decision. Would I, as a man that's 60 years old, go to war with drill culture, or just leave? Leave your studio, lose everything that you've built for peace? And that's what I chose to do. But I met little Vonnie, OTF Vonnie, at my home. I've watched my grandchildren talk to Lil Durk on the phone. This was not my doing. If you follow my channel and look at my videos, this was the mama. That because there was benefits for her to get things, she would turn her back to the fact that this was drill culture. She would even turn her back to the fact that she would go and buy weapons for these young men behind my back. Because it's just music, she say. But we sat and we watched the lives being lost in this music and in this culture. I've actually seen, I knew that OTF Vonnie was going to snitch and tell on Durk before the public even knew. I watched people discuss telling on Lil Durk, betraying each other while still drilling and destroying each other's lives.
And that's all. That's all I want to share. You know, that's more than enough. And you know what I mean? I'm gonna put the whole video in the description in the comment area. Just to like, yo, it's real out here. You know. Now it's corny because you know you got those that's going to be like, we shouldn't be telling your business, or like, yo, my family is my business. Like I don't even understand. Right? I share a picture of my family as I share a picture of my family. Like that shouldn't be, you know what I mean? You're putting your business out there, or that like DeAndre is snitching with that little, that little confession. You know what I mean? When I was working at all these odd jobs over the past 4 years, it was I'm the older cat in a lot of the places that I worked at. It had the younger, like, because that was the whole gist behind all of these, Uber driver, odd job, applications. It was for the younger Americans. Actually, I think it was for the illegals, but the companies hired the illegals, and then it forced all of us that couldn't get in on a new position because there was a rearranged people so that the same person isn't working in the same spot. It's like the meritocracy was erased. Meritocracy is, hey, I was with the company for 20 years. I should get a pension soon. You know what I mean? They broke all that up. It's their way of breaking up the unions. And then someone like myself explaining, hey, this is how the unions, et cetera, work and shouldn't work. And me being a manager, I had an open door policy, so I really didn't. I preferred not having my employees unionize against me. Right? They bring in a human resource person to help you, and here this human resource person is pro transgenderism. So now she goes to my YouTube page and hear me saying, nah, I ain't down for that transgenderism. I'm about me, my son, my wife. Right? I'm about a family, a normal, heteronormative, which is not a word that I like using. It's a word that they use to describe someone that's being that's against them. So if they see me as being against them, and she, at work, all she's going to do is what? Do her best to, hey, you was a minute late or whatever ignorance that they want to try to use to terminate your employee. So from a position of being a temporary person that that's there through some other form of where the management is hidden, right? And they know all this. You know what I mean? It's not me snitching. It's me just telling the truth. And now it's all right, cool. Now we got to fix it. Okay, now what do we need? And like he said, now we have to try to get the men back in the homes. But who wants to go back to a home where she's on some black feminist buy guns for the kids and the trap music and we're gonna make money that way? Like she's the Don Kingpin, right? But she's passing it off on the children so that she doesn't need to, which Denzel mentioned in that movie that I shared yesterday was or it might have been earlier today, the Sixth Amendment. You know what I mean? The Fifth Amendment is the keep your mouth shut, right? You can't be you don't have to take the stand. The sixth is you have the right to an attorney. So I don't need those things because even though I practice the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, meaning I have the right to defend myself, and I have the right to build an army. Yes, I have the right to, hey, what's up? Join my army. Hey, what's up? Join my army. Hey, what's up? Join my army. And I have the right to do that. That's the Second Amendment. And they're saying like, no, that's called patriarchal practices. What you're trying to do is I'm trying to build the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. And you two lesbians ain't down with that. And now, oh, you call us lesbians, or you call us dykes, or you call us bastards. You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, I didn't call y'all, the other B word. I saved that one specifically for men only. So if you want to know what a bitch is, then I'm telling you it's Barack Obama, what's his other guy, Roland Martin, and Al Sharpton. Those are three bitches, right? I don't call women that, right? Now if I say our father and you don't bow your head, that makes you a bastard, and I don't bang with y'all either. So, but that's the truth. And now you can take my colloquialisms the wrong way all you want. Try to figure out the art of logical thinking or the laws of reasoning, and then you might have gained some, next level understanding. When I say love God, our Father all the time, hip hop life, love one, that's God is love. Hip hop is lifetime, is holy. Money is nothing more than that fourth dimensional illusion that really doesn't exist, because it's hip hop that's the art of making the most out of life. One. God is understood. Peace and happiness.